Hello, everybody.
Hi. Hello.
And I am going to go find a pair of headphones. I will be right back.
Hello.
Hi there, I'll be right back.
Okay.
How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
Good.
Pretty
Let's
good.
see, we've got Barry and Bridget and Brooks and Kim, Linda and Melanie. Glad to have you guys here. And I apologize, we changed some lighting around in here and I look like the most horrible person that ever just came off the face of the earth. Either I've been drinking a lot or I've been out in the sun, but neither is the case. So I apologize for my lovely red appearance. Not my best look. Did you guys have any difficulty getting on?
No.
Not this time.
Okay, great. All right. Well, we'll get started in just a minute here. Now, Bridget, you were telling me last time I've got that separate, I think I've got that separate chat. And it is hopefully tied to the Hangout, but our Hangout on air. And give me 1 second. Now, this one is different. Can you guys still hear me? Because I am now in YouTube as far as I can tell. So don't know if that's good or bad, but that other chat, it seems to be there, Bridget.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
I
Perfect.
can hear you guys, but I have since ceased to be able to find you, so hang on one second while I get back there. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect. I can hear you guys, but I have since ceased to be able to find you, so hang on one second while I get back there.
Does that sound like an echo to you guys?
Yeah, there's an echo.
Yeah, because it seemed like he said the same phrase again.
Sorry, gang. Hand me 1 second here. Okay, we're back. Sorry, that echo should be gone. I had a couple of things that were open and can't do more than one. It doesn't work very well. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Do we have any volunteers for an opening prayer? One second. I'm trying to add one more invite here. Did anybody raise their hand or basically volunteer for that? Going once, going twice.
For what? I just joined.
Perfect. Becky, that'd be great. Thank you.
Is this for the opening prayer?
That'd be awesome. Unless, oh, my wife's computer also, so hang on. I'm a little bit less familiar with this one. Hang on here. Let me just turn up a little bit of volume and we can be good to go here. So, Becky, was that a volunteer or did I just take it that way?
No, I'm happy to volunteer.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Father, we're going to need to join each other, grateful for each other and the things we're learning from each other. We pray that thy Spirit would be with us tonight, that we can get the most out of this meeting together, that will help us to continue our week's preparations for the assignments and carry them out in the way that will benefit us the most. And we love thee and thank thee for all thou hast given us, and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right. And I wanted to take just a minute and share a spiritual thought with you again. And we'll let you guys do this at a future date, if you will. But for tonight, we'll be able to go on your own, but we'll do it tonight. In Moroni, chapter 8, there's a scripture that I enjoy that says, in chapter 8, verse 8, Listen to the words of Christ, your Redeemer, your Lord and your God. Behold, I came into the world not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. The whole need no physician, but they that are sick. Therefore little children are whole, and they are not capable of committing sin. Therefore the curses of Adam is taken from them in me, that it hath no power over them, and the law of circumcision is done in me, away in me. And the reason I bring that up is that we're watching my granddaughter for a week, and spending time with her. My wife probably may disagree with this. She's a little bit of a terror. Just to show you what kind of a personality she has, we had the primary program in our ward last week. She went out into the aisle, put on a pair of crazy-looking sunglasses, and was out there directing the music with the choir person. And everybody in the back of the chapel enjoyed the primary program. They came up and said she was the best part of it, and she wasn't even in it. So she's a crazy little one. But Moroni had such strong teachings about little children, how innocent they are, that they don't need baptism, and he came out with some very strong words, as did other Book of Mormon prophets. And the reason I bring this up is I'm very grateful for revelation that we have that helps clarify teachings of the world, teachings of other churches, with true doctrine. And the Book of Mormon teaches us true doctrine, no doubt about that. And my last comment on that is that true doctrine is also something we're going to hear this weekend. This weekend is General Conference. I don't know what your habits are on watching General Conference, but mine have changed over the years. It's now a weekend I absolutely cherish. Nothing else really goes on except for lots of eating, sitting around the TV and watching things with those that are here, attending priesthood meeting, and for you sisters that probably attended last week at the opening session of conference. So when we talk about Moroni, talking about pure teaching and talking about revelation through the Book of Mormon, we also have great opportunities for revelation in General Conference. No other event like this on earth is there, period. And we have 2 days of doctrine straight from Heavenly Father and our Savior Jesus Christ. We also have the privilege this time of hearing, we would speculate at least, that we will hear that there are 3 new apostles that will be called, and that is another way we directly get to see the hand of the Lord in what we do. So any comments on that? Any thoughts that anybody would add to what I'm sharing? You guys look awfully quiet tonight.
I would like to just say I agree with you, Brother Bonnie. The conference weekends have become one of our most family's favorite traditions. Like you, we have built it a lot around our favorite foods, and we print out conference packets for the littlest ones that they use to help keep their attention on it as long as possible. Since we've moved, it's going to be quite different because we don't have family, as much family around us, that made it so much fun, but it is definitely something we all enjoy, and for conference is we enjoy that.
Thank you for sharing that, Becky. Bridget, did I see that you were saying something and I didn't know if I didn't hear you or your mic was muted? Were you trying to share something? I see your lips moving, but I don't see any, or I don't hear any words unless it's just me. What about the rest of you? Can you guys hear Bridget?
I can't hear her.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, keep working on that, Bridget. We'll hopefully hear from you shortly. Okay, tonight we have a couple of different things, and thank you for letting me share a spiritual thought on conference. And glad to hear from all of you. I see some of you have your profile pictures up, and would still love to see your smiling faces. If you can look at mine, I can certainly probably look at yours, because yours are certainly better looking than mine. So tonight is a couple things. I want to spend a little time on questions about the class, about assignments. We'll go through whatever time we need with that. And then we're going to do what we will do every week, which is have a discussion on our content for the week. Hopefully you guys had a chance to do this in your meetings this week or meetings that are upcoming. and we're going to talk tonight about the Army crew case and the issues with that. We also want to take a few minutes, and anybody that had a really good interview with their HR person, we're going to share some things on that. So we'll try to put those three things forward today. So if, again, if you've got any comments or questions, we certainly want you to jump in and not be shy. So first of all, what questions about this week or upcoming weeks do you have that I can answer that I haven't answered or you haven't found in the reading, or things I can just put your mind at ease for?
Question.
Yes.
For some reason I thought somewhere it said that the interview paper was due on Friday, but the iLearn says Saturday, so I just wanted to clarify which day.
Saturday.
Saturday, okay.
Yeah, Saturday is fine. We'll give you, Caleb, as much time as you need on that.
Okay.
Saturday by midnight, because we want you to have a good experience with that and not have to cram it too much into 5 minutes of time.
Perfect. Well, I just had the interview actually just a minute ago, so
awesome.
I'm just about finished up. So.
Okay. Other questions on current or upcoming assignments?
I have a question. Oh,
okay.
Go ahead, Melanie. Go ahead.
On the, I was the group leader this week, and so I have to do the writing assignment.
Okay.
But for the others who are not the group leader, do they need to submit a note that just says they were not the leader this week?
No.
So
No.
it doesn't...
What I would do on that one for this assignment is just make sure, if you can, Melanie, that you just put in there who was in your group. Now
Okay,
I can see that because now let me ask you this without putting you too much on the spot. Were you able to record that on a Hangout on air?
Yes, and it's posted on our discussion board.
Okay, perfect. So I'll see that, but it helps me because when I grade, you give me that written assignment, and I get that in the actual iLearn. That's the only real part of iLearn we use, so it's really helpful to me for you to put the names of everybody that was there.
Okay.
And actually, if you don't mind, everybody, put the names of your group members that were there and also the others in your group that may not have been there. Okay? Now let me pick on you a little bit because it sounds like you guys have your act together. And so did you do both of the things which were the purposes of this, to at least start talking about the doohickeys assignment, and then also look at the Army crew and have a discussion on that case?
So we talked briefly about the doohickey problem, and we decided that we would listen to what you had to say tonight, and then if we need to, regroup again at the end of the week to discuss it further. We do have a Google document set up so that we can all go in and edit as we post.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Melanie, I'm going to have you be responsible to remind me, is when our questions are over, if I haven't already answered, I'm going to spend a little bit more time just with the doohickeys assignment to make sure you guys are clear. So remind me in case I go forward and don't cover that. Okay,
sure.
Please, go ahead. I saw another hand somewhere. Linda, was that you?
Linda's mic's not on.
Oh.
She probably has the same question I do. Oh,
yeah. Linda, yours was, it looked like it was muted there for a second, so.
Still can't hear you, Linda.
Caleb, go ahead then. We just go ahead and ask. Fire the questions away, Linda. When you get your mic back, we'll listen to you.
Yeah. So I just wanted to double check and make sure that you're able to see our Hangouts on air, because my group, we are definitely not the most technological people. So I just wanted to make sure that you're seeing. I think we're group 8.
Okay.
I'm not sure when I stop broadcasting it. I'm not sure how to post that to the right spot. So
okay.
Are you seeing those for our group? Do you know?
I will check on that. I don't know the answer to that right now.
Okay, that's fine.
If somebody wants to jump off and take a look at that and answer Caleb's question, that would be awesome. Hi, Bridget. We can hear you now.
Okay, good. I'll go check on that real quick. Sorry,
okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, that's fine. Hang on, Bridget, 1 second. Let's do this on. Let me give you one piece of advice on that. Once you record the Hangout on air, if you go back to the original location, which should be in your group or in the community, then if you go on that and click video, then it will should take you to your YouTube account. Then you can click on that, and it just basically you're going to download that to that post, and it should be there. So it's that kind of that one step afterwards, Caleb, that you have to do. Again, once it's done, you just stop it, go there, and then click on that on the video button, and it'll take you to your YouTube account, and you can download that. Or it's your YouTube videos is what you're going to look at there, and then you'll click on that. Should be at the top of the list, and then you double click on it, and it will pull it into that post. Did that answer your question, I hope?
Yeah, I'll just have to go. I just have it pulled up on my computer here. I'm going to just see.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Brooke, did you find it? No, she's probably still looking. All right, we'll let her look.
I don't see it currently. I'm on our page, the group 8, and I don't see it. So.
Okay. And the nice thing I would add, and if any of you have a better explanation, certainly let's take a minute and get that for them. That's what I always do. So when I'm done with this tonight, we will. I will go and go back to the original post that is there, notifying you guys of the meeting. Click on the video button. It takes me to YouTube. It says your YouTube videos. You open that up. It should be there. You double click it, and it's automatically there. It takes about 2 seconds. Bridget, you're pretty technology savvy. Am I answering that correctly?
I am, and I could probably do a screen share and just show them exactly how to put it on from YouTube. If you want to try that, or
if you want to, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm curious. Does my microphone work now?
You're perfect.
It does?
Mm-hmm. You're great, Linda.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Okay. So, can you see my screen?
Yes.
So to add your video to YouTube, you're just going to go to here to click on this icon that says video on our page. You find a new box and you click on video, and then you have to go over to your YouTube videos up right here, and then it'll pull up your broadcast. And so, like right here, I can share my About Me video, and that's all you have to do is hit Add Video.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, Bridget.
You're welcome.
Oh, look at that. So as soon as I add it, then that's when everybody can see it.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Thanks, Bridget. That's helpful.
Well, I had the same words. That was good, but Bridget had the picture, and guess what? The picture's always worth words, so thank you for that, Bridget.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Bridget, there's a note to you on the comments on the other thing that someone said about sharing something.
Oh, okay.
Just a heads up. But so I do have a question going back to what Melanie was saying about the group project. So as far as my assignment on that part, just leave it completely blank?
Yes. You don't need to do anything with that.
Okay. Okay. And then you'll just go in and fill the grade in later.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And that's why it's very helpful for you guys to write the name of the group that was there and the ones that weren't there when you post that. Okay. All right. Other questions? We've got plenty of time for those. Barry or anyone else, any other questions I can answer for you?
It looks like we've got about 5 people who are waiting to join the call. So I'll step out and let somebody in.
There's only 8 on there, so there's room for 2 if that helps. Or actually, there's room for 3 now. So hopefully, if you're there, you can just give it a try again. All right, and then so we've got Brittany in there now. And so if any of you want to just stick around for a while, if not, you can come in and go, whatever you'd like. Okay, with no other questions, let me take a minute and go through the doohickeys assignment. We have 4 assignments. Barry or anyone else, any other questions I can answer for you? And if we could, everybody could mute their mics, that'd be awesome. Let's see, it looks like Linda, yours is open, and Bridget's might be open still. But if we could, that way I will reduce the echo. And then certainly if you've got a question, jump in. All right, so on the doohickeys discussion, or the doohickeys assignment, who can tell me what 4 weeks that we had these papers do. It was in the material several times this week. Anybody brave enough to jump in? Caleb, go ahead.
Is it 4, 7, 10, and 12?
Close.
It's 4, 7, something, 9?
Okay.
I don't know.
Is it 4, 7, 11, and 12?
I think 13 is the last one.
Oh.
4, 7, 10, and 13.
There we go. Okay.
Trickery.
Okay.
It's right there.
There you go. That's awesome. 4, 7, 10, and 13. Now we're in week 2. That means we still have 2 more weeks before you have to have anything due. So I don't want anybody to panic about this. And actually, this assignment is very interesting. It's very fun, and it's challenging. And I want to start off by just making sure you guys know there's a reason these assignments are hefty. And that is we have no real exams in this class. I don't know if you noticed that. The quizzes are pretty easy. You can retake them if you ask me and don't like your score. Any quiz can be retaken as many times as you want. All you have to do is ask me and I'll reset it. So basically, you have one final exam that is open book, open notes. You have quizzes that are open book, open notes. And so that does not fulfill a 3-unit college level class. So the meat of your grades come from 2 places. One is the discussions, and one is from the doohickeys assignments. Are you guys cool with that? Does that make sense?
I have a quick question real quick about the doohickeys assignment. Can you hear me?
Can Brittany, go ahead.
So for this week, it had a list of questions for us to go over in our group meeting. Do those questions change every week, and they're different, and we include it in our paper in the first due date in week 4, or is it consecutively until week 4, those same questions?
Okay, good questions. As far as I know, everything about the assignment stays the same except the content that you're using. And
Okay.
let me explain on that if I could. And again, raise your hand if you've got questions or just blurt it out, one of the two. You're going in to the doohickeys company as the HR person, a consultant, a manager, whatever you want to call it, and you have this doohickeys company that's pretty much a mess. All right? And again, tell me again, Linda, what were those weeks again? One more time, we're going to pick on you.
They are 4, 7, 10, and 13.
Okay. So in weeks 4, 7, 10, and 13, you're going to write me a paper on what you would do to fix doohickeys. Now, in week 4, you're going to use any content from weeks 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, and 0, 4. All right, I'm going to pick on this week, for example. So let's say you wanted to say doohickeys has got a big problem with team building and teamwork and team interaction. Well, you've got plenty of things that you're learning this week about the Army crew or just reading about teams in general or things you're finding on your own. And so what you can do is use content from this week or any other week on 0 through 4 to put together a paper on doohickeys. All right? So basically, here's the other part that you need to hear. In each of these, there are 4 problems and 4 solutions to each problem. This is the easiest way I know to get you guys enough content to make this work. And there's a couple of things that you need to know also. The number of words is 3,500 to 5,000 words per paper. In the old days, that would be about a 5 to 7 page paper. That's not excessive considering we don't have exams. You guys with me on that? All right. So it's 3,500 to 5,000 words. You can always go over. I would recommend you don't go under. And so in this case, in week 4, you're going to give me a 3,500 to 5,000 word paper on what you think we could do with the content from those weeks to make doohickeys a better place. And my 4 problems, 4 solutions is this. The easiest way to do this is I have 4 problems with what's going on in doohickeys based on the content this week. So you could use team building, you could use the strategic HR, you could use other things and say, here's my 4 problems that's going on. And for each of those 4, you're going to give me 4 solutions. So the magic number is 16, 4 times 4. You're going to have basically 16 pieces of information that tell me what the problem is and what 4 things are you do to solve it. What problem number 2 is, what are 4 things you would do to solve it. Problem 3, 4 things you're going to do to solve it. Problem 4, etc. Now, I'll be
Brother
quiet.
Bonnie?
Yes, please.
In the instructions, it says choose three problems or issues. So I don't know. What do you want us to do?
No, you're right. We changed that. We changed that for this semester. I'm working on old information here. It's 3 problems with 4 solutions, so that number is 12, not 16.
Okay.
Okay. And that will also decrease that paper length a little bit. It will be 3,000 to 4,500 words. We made that change during the summer, so I apologize for that. I did not remember that. Okay. So thank you for that correction, Linda. Okay. Kim, was that a question?
I had the same question.
Okay. All right. All right. Now, so far, clear, not clear?
Clear.
All right. Becky, you look like I just dropped a bomb on your house. Is that not clear, or am I just making it more difficult?
Oh no, it's totally clear. It's just almost midnight here.
Okay. Well, we'll give you a little slack then.
Thank you.
All right. So, and then what you're going to do, all you're going to do to that is add an introduction, a conclusion, and please make sure you use a bibliography. Now, have you guys found the sample paper that's on the class? And if you didn't, I will email it to you directly.
I have not seen a sample paper.
Okay.
Me neither.
All right.
I haven't either.
I haven't either. I'd love to have one.
Hey,
And also, there's a question on the group chat here, if you don't mind me asking it. One student is asking, are we turning in one paper as a group, or are they individual papers?
Thank you. It is one paper as a group. Now that's the next part I wanted to go and talk about. So thank you for that segue, Brittany. You work as a group on this paper. The recommended way is to use Google Docs. I would also please ask, please do not turn it in as a Google Doc. A Google Doc is a hard document to grade, and there are some tools I can use in Word that are not available in Google. So what I would ask you to do is build it as a Google Doc. That way you have the ability to edit it, then convert it, save it, and paste it into a Word document would be very helpful for me. Okay? So you're going to answer that question, here's how the best way this is to write this. You will have one person in your group that will write the paper. They typically, again, you can do your own variation on this, they typically are not the ones that research it and write the original content. They will take the content from the group, pull that together, make it into one legible, cohesive paper, and then submit that to me. All right, am I clear on that or not? Make sure, again, tell me if I'm not clear about that. All right, so how many of, now group 8, do you have a fairly decent sized presence here? And how many of you are in group 8? Anybody, because I heard your name mentioned earlier. Anybody more than one?
3 of us.
Okay, perfect. So,
2 of us.
All right, so I'm going to say there are 4 of you in group 8. And
There's 7 of us.
All 7 of you are in group? Oh, right, you've got a big group. Right.
We've got a big group.
I get that. So let me say, Brooke, did I see your hand go up when I asked if you were in group 8?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So for argument's sake, Brooke is going to be the group leader this week. She would probably lead the group meeting on the Hangout on Air and probably kind of take charge of organizing the paper. Now, everybody can volunteer what they want to do, but let's say if there's 7 of you total, then she would be the one that would pull the paper together, so she would get all the information that everybody else wrote, and Brooke would get this conglomeration of mini papers, if you will, put them together by cutting and pasting and doing some editing into one cohesive paper, and then she would submit that to me in week 4. So again, it's 3 points, 4 issues or 4 recommendations on each, so that's a total of 12, 3,000 to 4,500 words, and again, more is always fine. Pulled together by one person, submitted by one person, and everyone has to do the work. So it's not like anybody just kind of carries you, I guess, if you will. Now, other questions, other comments, agree, disagree?
I have a small question. So you just want it on a Word document and not a PDF?
PDF, no. Please put it in a Word document. It allows me to edit it a little bit easier. There are some tools. If you can in Word, that would be awesome. I promise not to change it around. So
okay.
That would be really helpful to me, Brooke, if you don't mind, and everybody else. Okay? Other questions? I have no clue what you just said. Any other observations? Okay, we will talk more about that as the weeks go on. We'll talk more about it next week. What I would recommend you guys do, whether you're watching or you're here or listening to the recording, I would, if you have not had your group meeting this week, I would at least start talking about it. And again, the paper that's due in week 4 has content from any week, 00 through and including week 4. Okay? So week 7, if I remember Linda's narrative to us correctly, it was week 7, is any content from 5, 6, or 7. Okay? And so forth. You get the idea from there. So you use the content that you've not used before, but has up to and including the week that you're turning that paper in. All right, and I will send you guys a sample paper. It'll be a little bit longer, but you'll get the idea.
So our questions that we have about the Doohickeys company will be based upon, for instance, this first week, we'll have questions about their team building problems, their leadership problems, and those topics, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay.
Okay. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a question. It can be a question. It can be, hey, we think this is broken. This is our observation. You're going to use those as your main points. And then you have the answers or what you're going to do about that going forward as a subheading for that.
Okay.
Did I clarify that a little bit, Linda?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, if this seems daunting, it's the main focus of the class. Again, we don't have discussion boards. We don't have anything but a video chat and you guys working together as a group. Think of this in terms of work. Those of you that have jobs or have families or anything else, this pattern is out there everywhere. We have to get together and plan things as a group, and we have to do things. So if it's a church committee or a church presidency or a job or you name it, this is the pattern that we have to use. You have people from different backgrounds, different circumstances, and they have to work together to put a product together. It can be a bit maddening. It can be a bit frustrating. It can be the best experience you've ever had, and it can be a difficult experience, but it will duplicate how the world works at work and what the human resource function needs to do. Clear or not clear? You guys all look like you're either completely bored to tears or I've just stunned you into oblivion.
You're clear. You're clear.
All right, at least Linda tells me I'm clear.
Sounds good, brother.
All right. Thank you, Bridget. All right. So that's the Doohickeys paper. Again, you'll see the sample. Do not freak out about this. You can do it. You can do it just fine. The trick is get together in your groups, meet as often as you need, and get the work done. You have at least 2 weeks for each paper, and it should be able to get done in that period of time. And if you get discouraged, just remember there are no big exams in this class. Quizzes, group work, and the papers. And there is one minor little detail I did not share with you till the end of this discussion on purpose, is everyone in the group gets the same grade. All right? Let that sink in for a minute. Everyone in the group gets the same grade, whether they pull their weight or not. Now, let me ask, not tell, why do you think we do that? Who can, in your insightful, late in the evening wisdom, can tell me about that? Why would we do that?
I think it's because it's requiring us to use a lot of the tools that we're learning as we go along to work with each other.
Okay, very good. Any other opinions?
Well, a team at work, oftentimes, if depending on the results, they all have to work together, and they all kind of get their own little grade as a group, if that makes sense.
Okay, absolutely. All right, very good. Any other opinion? Very good. Any other opinion? Okay, we'll leave it at that. Well, welcome, Susan.
If depending on the results, they all have to work together.
And we're probably going to want to have you mute your microphone, Susan. I think you're. I think we can hear you loud and clear. All right, very good. Any other opinion? All right. Okay. Thank you. All right. So let's go on. I think that would probably be enough for the content. I want to leave us on a good note, not just be concerned about that paper. We'll have more time on it next week, and I'll send out the sample as I mentioned. All right. Let's talk about the Army crew. And I have on my clock about 17, 18 minutes left. So what were your key learnings on the Army crew case? Everybody jump in at once.
I think I think a big thing that my group took away from the case was that confrontation isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it can really help bring a team together. It was difficult for the coach to figure out what was going on with these team members, but and we kind of discussed how it works the same in a company as well, to make sure we're all pulling our own weight and working together as a team. So I thought it was a cool distinction, and we wondered if you did it on purpose to do this case first, just because we're working as a group, because it kind of discussed how working in a group kind of fit in like that. So we were wondering if you did that on purpose for the first week we met together as a group.
Yes, we did. And you found us out, I guess, if you will. Okay. Thank you for that observation. I appreciate that. That's a good thought on that one, Brittany. Let's see, Barry, were you chatting there and we cut you off? If you were, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying. One thing we noticed was just a severe lack of communication on all parties' parts when it came to the varsity team, and also the coach. The coach kind of had this mentality where he just backed up, and instead of being honest with himself up front, he waited till the last minute. And it was 4 days before the finals, and okay, now we really need to figure this out. Instead of saying, okay, we're seeing a trend here, let's fix it. Let's fix it before. Let's fix it 4 or 5 months before we have to fix it.
Okay. Very good observation, and that is always a great way to fix a team is start early. Because when you get to the end, that's when conflict happens or things blow up or things get really ugly if you do what Barry said and wait too long. So that's a good observation, Barry. Appreciate that. All right, other comments on what you learned, what you thought about it, if you agree, disagree?
So I think that the coach definitely waited too long to address the problems, but it's not that he stood back and just let it explode. He was doing everything he could think of at the time to figure out what the problem was. He did that by retesting everybody and by mixing the boys up in the boat and in the different boats, sending JV up, sending varsity down. So he was trying to get there. He just hadn't hit on the right formula yet.
Okay. Okay, very good. All right, thanks for that. Those are good thoughts, Melanie. All right, others. And if you, by the way, I can't see that chat. If you want to let anybody else know, we've got plenty of room for other people to jump in here if they would like to, if one of you guys want to post something there. Susan, you're joining us midway through. Tell me your thoughts, anything on that Army crew that you would add, either from your reading or from if your group has met already.
Sorry, it froze up on me. I didn't hear what you just said.
Oh, I said, did you have any opinion on what the Army crew case had or brought, and then you wanted to share with us?
Well, I thought it was really interesting the way that
I think Susan's freezing again.
in
Oh, there she is. Okay.
Oh, I noticed that with teamwork, as we've done a lot of that on at BYUI, and that you do a lot of that in an office situation, in a work situation, you're almost always working in teams, and if you have a team that is working against each other, you're not going to get anywhere. So you kind of have to have that cohesiveness of your team, and you have to get to know your other team members and feel comfortable enough in your team to be able to tell someone or talk to someone about an issue that you have. So that was the thing that I kind of took away from it.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Others? Linda, anything you would add?
Well, I think the coach had a difficult job with that varsity team because earlier, I think in the season, they had some sort of training that was more touchy-feely, and they didn't like that at all. And so he had a real problem figuring those guys out, and perhaps he just didn't. I mean, obviously, he didn't come up with the right idea until the very end when they had that physical release of wrestling with each other, which became the turning point for them.
Now, let me ask you this: in most of the world, how would that resolution work?
Not well at all.
Can you picture that in the office?
Well, that would be pretty hilarious, actually.
It'd be hilarious, but we'd probably have about 20 lawsuits come out of it.
Lawsuits, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Now, there's one word that allows him to get away with this, and what is it?
Military.
Yeah.
In the Army, and guess what? You know, they do things and have different regulations and laws and things like that. But here's the lesson with this, and see if you guys agree with me on that. Well, you wouldn't put, you know, the administrative assistants into a pen and say, have at it until you're done. As much as that might be interesting, you probably do want to have people talk and have a conversation that may be a little tough when they probably don't want to. Now, you have to be careful because this is kind of like playing with explosives or a nuclear weapon or something else like that. Confrontation can work, and people can tend to get things off their chest, so to speak, but it can also be very volatile. It can literally or figuratively almost explode, and if it explodes, you may have actually killed the group. All right. So if the explosion is violent or is one where people are angry, very angry, you may have people that literally leave that team or choose to be withdrawn or whatever the case might be. Agree, disagree? What do you guys think if it was in a non-military setting?
Yeah, I totally can see that happening. Different people have different personalities and deal with conflict and confrontation differently and handle it some better than others. And so, yeah, that has great potential for being really, really bad, or it can have a great outcome. It just depends on the people involved.
Okay. Very good. All right. Other comments?
I think that's the biggest thing that scares me about this profession is confrontation. And I thought the reading was really helpful earlier about you just have to do it. You just have to sit people down and you have to make them talk.
Okay. Now I'm going to add one thing to those last two comments. Being an HR person, and I've done this for a long time, I have rarely seen the big group confrontation work, because if you don't have a moderator or somebody to work with that, it can get, again, really out of hand. But if you have somebody let's say you've got a team of 10 people, and you have someone to control the discussion, to make sure that people will speak their mind but not be rude or obnoxious, or you can cut them off. So in other words, if you can moderate that or have somebody that is skilled at doing that, it can work just fine. If it's a free-for-all, that is really has the potential of being damaging. Bridget, from your comment or anybody else, do you agree or disagree with that?
I agree. I think that many people could go away from it. I mean, it could just have such a negative effect instead of the positive that you'd want to come out of it.
Okay, good, Linda, thanks. Other comments?
I agree as well. I think it has to be done very carefully and tactfully, and the person moderating has to know what they're doing.
Okay. Any other comments?
I would feel like that you really need to use a lot of prayer before you do something that is that volatile. That it's a dangerous thing to do, like you're saying. Sometimes I feel like it's almost better to divide and conquer and do it on a smaller scale.
And I would add that's great wisdom, Becky. What I want to do is kind of blend all of your comments. I don't want you guys to say, cool, let's just throw everything into a pit and see what happens. But at the same time, I don't want all of us to pull back and say, I'm never going to have conflict. So the learning out of this, to me, on this Army crew team, is this was a unique circumstance that you could only do in that kind of circumstance. You might be able to do it on, for example, a high school wrestling team or, something like that where you had that option. But in a normal circumstance, you wouldn't. But the metaphor or the example here is don't hesitate to have conflict. Just try to do it as smart as you can. Sometimes, and think of examples in your own life or in an example at work. Sometimes things don't get better until you get things out in the open. Again, you have to be civil and you have to follow laws, rules, and regulations. But it's the kind of thing where you can just, if you don't ever tinker with this, it's not going to get better. And so the example of an explosion, or I look at gasoline. All right, now how many times a day do we rely on the use of gasoline? Quite a few, correct? What does gasoline do in your car? There is a what that it produces.
Combustion?
Okay. What's another word for combustion? It's a controlled what?
Explosion.
Okay. Combustion is a controlled explosion. The explosion if I take gasoline and put it in a circumstance where I'm doing something where I'm trying to get another result of that explosion can be very harmful. That very same gasoline put in your car and controlled drives your car, does many good things, and that controlled explosion is kind of the example I want you to think about as well. Bridget has helped us here. Emily says, one thing I thought of the case that was different between guys and gals. Men can fight and then be friends, and after that, and women can't do that. Do you guys agree, disagree? What do you think?
Actually, I have 5 sons, and they would fight, get over it, and everything is fine. And when I work in the Young Women's Program, we would have at times issues because so and so said something and they weren't nice to me, and girls tend to carry grudges for a long time. So I would kind of agree with that.
You've been talking to my wife. She's in the Young Women's Program as well. I just heard this yesterday. So, okay. All right, thank you. That's a great observation. What do the rest of you think? Agree, disagree? Go ahead.
I agree with that. My husband said that when he was in high school that, he'd get into fights all the time with people, other guys who would say something or do something, and they'd fight it out and they'd be done, and then they were best friends. That, I don't know if it's just hormones that they got to get it out. And I think women internalize things, and so something physical probably isn't a good way to release that for women. But men, throw them in a boxing ring and see what happens.
And the practicality of that in today's world is pretty limited, though. That what you can get away with in junior high and high school, you can't get away with as an adult. You'd be arrested, thrown in jail, all that fun stuff. But no, that's a great comment. I'm not putting the comment down at all on that one, Melanie. I think it's a wise observation. And others agree or disagree? What do you guys think?
Men and women definitely have different ways of dealing with conflict and stresses like that. So I agree with that. Yeah.
Does that mean one is better than another?
No, just different. And you need to understand that of each other too, as you are working with the opposite sex in a workplace. You need to understand their differences.
Very good. Trina, you were going to add something?
Well, I think, can you hear me?
Yes,
I think that as women, we feel personally attacked, our integrity, and I don't think men feel that way. They get over it pretty quickly when they're attacked, but I think we take it a lot deeper than it need to be.
And people that know men would say they're not smart enough to figure that out. So that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother day. So no offense to Barry, who looks like he might have stepped away for a minute. So we probably offended him with this conversation. All right. No, he's back. We didn't lose him too bad. All right. So any other thoughts on the team, either the Army Crew team or anything else as far as teams go tonight as we wrap things up?
One of the things I would say is if you can build relationships within your team, you have a better chance of making your teams work. So I've always found building personal relationships the best way to work with my own customers in my own business, and that has worked for me for 20 years. So that's what I do.
Very good. Thank you. And
yeah, I think that's
go ahead, Linda.
I think that's a huge key in workplace, in families, in church callings. I know when I was Relief Society president, I came to love making the visits and getting to know people in their own homes and building that relationship with them. It was so much more personal and intimate and meaningful to know who they were and where they were coming from and just the ins and outs of their life. It just was a closer relationship that way.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, I would add just one last comment because we're right at the end of our hour tonight, and we've got Becky that's going to end up going to sleep if we don't get her going here. So, teams can be a great joy. They can be a great challenge, and they can be a great trial. But teams almost always together, it's that corny analogy, and I always hated this, but it does make sense. It's team stands for together everyone achieves more. Again, corny as it can be. But I want to share that one last thought, and it has to do with a math equation. If I have one, and I have had one another to add to that, what is the 1 plus 1 total? If I do that, what do I ask you? 1 plus 1 equals what? Not a trick question.
2.
Okay. Any different answer? Bridget?
No, I'm just trying to think if there is a different answer.
Okay. Anybody? 1 plus 1 equals 3. Now, how do I come up with that?
It's 10 o'clock.
All right. Somebody just told me it was 10 o'clock. So it's obviously, that was a pretty subtle hint, whoever gave that to us. Bridget, was that you?
It's my computer. I don't know how to fix it.
Okay, I guess that means we're done. I'll finish the thought real quick. 1 plus 1 equals 3 because this concept of it's called synergy. The whole point of putting a team together is the sum of the parts will do more than the individual parts by themselves. Sports teams, dance teams, debate teams, I don't know, you pick a team. The concept is when they work together, the energy, the synergy, the thoughts, the conflict, and everything else will give more out the back end of that process than if those 10 people worked by themselves. Some teams are dysfunctional. Many teams are very functional. And the whole point with this is for you guys that are here tonight and those that are watching the recording to be able to take these teams, work on your doohickeys assignments, work on these group things, and have them be great learning experiences. They will not be smooth, they will not be perfect, and they will not be always easy. But by the time you're done, and again, why we have this one first in our series of discussions, is you're going to take this and be able to see that this team concept works. It's volatile, it's difficult, and sometimes it doesn't work and it fails. But more often than not, this team and that synergy of 1 + 1 = 3 really will be there. So I give you those thoughts, and I hope those are things that will stick with you and help you. Again, any questions you've got during the week, great. Try to get those things posted. It is General Conference this weekend. Please try to limit as much of your homework as you can, and please try to make sure you watch all the sessions. And if you find you need a few more extra minutes because conference was on and you were watching that, then just email me and we'll be flexible with that. All right. Any other comments before we leave tonight? Thank you. Thank you guys that were here. I'm not quite sure. We still have a couple of folks. I think Heather is one of them that couldn't get in, and I'm not quite sure why, because we've had pretty much less than 10 spaces for the entire evening. There may have been a couple of times when you couldn't get in, but pretty much right now we've got 7 of you here, which leaves 3 spaces. So if you're watching this taped and can't get in, let me know. We'll work with you to make sure you get in and try to get at least some time in the spotlight here. All right. Thank you all. Have a great night. I'll hang around if anybody has any questions, and we'll go from there. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. You'll make sure that you get that email to all of us, the sample paper?
Absolutely. We'll do.
Okay. Thank you.
It may be tomorrow, but I will do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet, Becky. Take care. Get a night's sleep.
I plan to. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Bridget.